Welcome to Recapping Movie Expilot. In order to collect a briefcase from a bullet train traveling from Tokyo to Kyoto, Ladybug, a former professional assassin, is given the assignment by his handler Mariah Beetle when her usual contact Carver is forced to cancel due to illness. Unbeknownst to Ladybug, there are 3 additional murderers on board, including the seemingly innocent schoolgirl the Prince and the hitmen Tangerine and Lemon. White Death, the leader of the biggest criminal organization in the world, who had previously taken over the Japanese underworld, has hired Tangerine and Lemon. The brothers are delivering both the kidnapped son of the crime lord as well as the briefcase carrying his $10 million ransom to Kyoto. The prince, who had just shoved his little kid from a building, calls in another assassin, Yuichi Kimura, to the train. The prince coerces Kimura into helping her carry out her plan, which entails rigging the briefcase and Kimura's gun with explosives to kill White Death, knowing that an associate is waiting at the hospital to kill the boy. In order to steal the briefcase, Ladybug is forced to kill the wolf, another assassin who shows up looking for retribution for the poisoning deaths of his wife and his entire cartel at their wedding. The brothers discover White Death's son poisoned to death after realizing the briefcase is missing. Ladybug tries to reason with Lemon but is ultimately forced to restrain him, leading Tangerine to believe that Ladybug is to blame. The Hornet, the poisoner who slaughtered the wolf's wedding and was hired to kill the White Death's kid, is the wolf's planned victim when Ladybug stumbles into him. She injects Ladybug with boom-slang venom, but he responds by injecting her as well. He then kills her with the last of her anti-venom, leaving Ladybug to Piri. When Tangerine and Ladybug are at a deadlock, Ladybug forces Tangerine off the train after attempting to persuade White Death's men that his son and the briefcase are secure. Lemon, who is wary of Kimura and the prince, kills Kimura, but he later falls victim to a bottle of water that Ladybug laced and is killed by the prince. Tangerine discovers his brother's body while returning to the train, confronts the prince, but is fatally shot during a struggle with Ladybug. As the elder, the father of Kimura, boards the train, he reveals himself to be a former Yakuza lieutenant whose wife and family were killed during the ascent of White Death. He and Ladybug discover Kimura and Lemon still alive after having the prince's colleague slain to ensure his grandson's protection. They then get ready for the ambush that is going to befall them. When the train reaches Kyoto, White Death and his troops welcome Ladybug. The prince, who turns out to be the enraged daughter of White Death, tries to provoke him into pulling the trigger on Kimura's booby-trapped gun, but he refuses, telling her she was never a part of his scheme. According to the White Death, he hired every assassin on the train as payback for the death of his wife. His wife was asked to bail out their son from jail when Tangerine and Lemon butchered his guys during a job in Bolivia. Carver then killed her with the intent to kill her husband. Additionally, the Hornet poisoned the surgeon who was going to save his wife, ensuring her demise by eliminating the one person who could have done so. White Death set up all the assassins. After his son Wataru is pushed off a rooftop in Tokyo, Yuichi Kimura boards a bullet train in search of the perpetrator in order to get retribution. After the previous contract Carver calls in sick, Agent Ladybug is tasked with retrieving a briefcase from the same train under the supervision of his supervisor Mariah Beetle. Ladybug is hesitant because of his recent run of terrible luck at work, which included accidental fatalities. The briefcase and the son of Russian-born Yakuza boss the White Death, are both being escorted by 2 English assassin brothers with the codenames Lemon and Tangerine, who are both traveling on the train in disguise as schoolchildren. Lemon accepts Ladybug's offer to exit the bullet train in exchange for the briefcase. Lemon believes Ladybug killed the son, which sparks a struggle during which Lemon is knocked out after realizing Ladybug was not responsible. The prince and Yuichi locate the briefcase, booby-trap it with explosives, and modify Yuichi's firearm so that it would detonate when shot. After another altercation, Ladybug runs into Tangerine and kicks him off the bullet train. However, Tangerine jumps and gets back aboard from outside. After shooting Yuichi with a strange lemon, the latter passes out after consuming some water that Ladybug had already laced. Lemon is shot by the prince, who then hides him and Yuichi in a restroom. Ladybug runs across the Hornet, another assassin who used boomslang to poison the sun and the wolf's wedding party. According to the White Death, he recruited them in the hopes that they would kill each other, and that everyone on the bullet train was connected to the death of his wife. Carver, the White Death's primary target, had no replacements other than Ladybug. When the briefcase is opened by the White Death's henchman, it explodes, throwing Ladybug and the White Death back onto the train. The Elder and the White Death engage in combat, causing the bullet train to crash into downtown Kyoto. The White Death's remaining minions board and engage in combat with the assassins. The White Death attempts to kill Ladybug after emerging from the wreck and being impaled by the Elder's blade, but the rigged gun explodes in his face. With a machine gun, the prince threatens the Elder, Yuichi, and Ladybug, including the wolf and Ladybug, who mistakenly replaced Carver on the train, to kill each other and his son while blaming the brothers, Carver, the Hornet, and his own son. The suitcase bomb detonates before White Death can kill Ladybug, throwing them both into the train, which Lemon then restarts. The Elder and White Death square off as the train careens out of control, while Kimura and Ladybug fend off his goons. The train derails when Lemon knocks a criminal off of it into the river below, crashing into a nearby town. White Death is holding Ladybug at knife point. Kimura's gun bursts as he attempts to shoot Ladybug, killing him in the process. The murderous prince confronts Ladybug, Kimura, and his father before being run over by Lemon in a truck carrying tangerines. Ladybug, who has fully embraced a positive outlook on life, is saved by Mariah when she arrives. After too many jobs gone wrong, unfortunate assassin Ladybug Brad Pitt is determined to carry out his mission without violence. However, fate has other plans. Ladybug's most recent mission sends him hurtling toward deadly foes from all over the world who are all working toward related but opposing goals on the world's fastest train. In this never-ending thrill ride through contemporary Japan, the end of the line is only the beginning. Retired assassin Ladybug returns to the game with an easy mission: take an aluminum attaché bag from a swift Shinkansen train headed for Kyoto, and return it to its owner intact. Ladybug is experiencing extraordinary peace as a result of her recent spiritual awakening. There is always a catch to deals that seem too good to be true. 5 brutal hitmen compete for the same silver briefcase, but there are secret motives at play, and everything that can go wrong will. Without a doubt, Ladybug attracts Luck. What is in store for him at the finish line? After his son Wataru is pushed off a rooftop in Tokyo, Yuichi Kimura boards a bullet train in search of the perpetrator in order to get retribution. After the previous contract Carver calls in sick, Agent Ladybug is tasked with retrieving a briefcase from the same train under the supervision of his supervisor Mariah Beetle. Ladybug is hesitant because of his recent run of terrible luck at work, which included accidental fatalities. The briefcase and the son of Russian-born Yakuza boss the White Death, are both being escorted by 2 English assassin brothers with the codenames Lemon and Tangerine, who are both traveling on the train in disguise as schoolchildren. Lemon accepts Ladybug's offer to exit the bullet train in exchange for the briefcase. Lemon believes Ladybug killed the son, which sparks a struggle during which Lemon is knocked out after realizing Ladybug was not responsible. The prince and Yuichi locate the briefcase, booby-trap it with explosives, and modify Yuichi's firearm so that it would detonate when shot. After another altercation, Ladybug runs into Tangerine and kicks him off the bullet train. However, Tangerine jumps and gets back aboard from outside. After shooting Yuichi with a strange lemon, the latter passes out after consuming some water that Ladybug had already laced. Lemon is shot by the prince, who then hides him and Yuichi in a restroom. Ladybug runs across the Hornet, another assassin who used boomslang to poison the sun and the wolf's wedding party. According to the White Death, he recruited them in the hopes that they would kill each other, and that everyone on the bullet train was connected to the death of his wife. Carver, the White Death's primary target, had no replacements other than Ladybug. When the briefcase is opened by the White Death's henchman, it explodes,